Hi, everybody. Today I'd like to take the time to talk about perception. What is perception and what does it mean? Well, I think most of us knows that perception is the way we perceive things, so the way we look at things and what they mean for us. Few things that maybe you're not aware of, simply because not too many people talk about it, is the perception you have is based on the experience that you had in the past. That will change the way you look at things. Fire for you may be a dramatic experience, and you may be screaming every time you see a lighter light up. And for others, a lighter that lights can be romantic, can be peaceful, if you're in a concert, for example. It's all about your past experience. And when I say be dramatic, if you're a person who were burned to a three degree burn or whatever they call it, you will not look at fire the same way as most. I guarantee you. Because there's a lot of emotion attached to it. And they represent hurt, pain, suffering. Therefore, you cannot look at it the same way as someone who never got burnt once. You see the difference? That's what I mean by perception. And the reason why I'm talking about perception in my first video is because if we understand what the difference or what perception means, it will allow you to receive information differently. See, I'm a strong believer if you understand a concept, it's easier to work around it or work with it. If you don't understand it, you don't know how it works. So how can you work with it, right? So understand how perception works will definitely change your life if you choose to. Because now you are aware of it. You are going to be aware of how it works, or at least the fundamental, the basics. Understanding the perception will change your perception on the world. See, I seen a post on Facebook a while back, and you have two people looking at a number on the floor. Okay, this person sees a 6, like this, and this person sees a 9. Which one is right? Which one is wrong? It's about perception. They're both right. And they can be both wrong, depending on how you look at it. That's what perception is. It depends on how you look at things. Biggest difference in perception is how you were raised. And I'm not saying by your parents, which affects, but society-wise. See, we'll take walking, for example. We've been taught that we have to walk. That's the basic thing in life. You walk, you talk, right? That's kind of the basic things. But let's focus on walking, for example. When you first started to walk, that was impossible to you because you were just crawling. And that was a task by itself. You're hitting the counter, hitting the coffee table, hitting the couch, you'd bang everywhere. And that was just crawling. Never mind thinking of getting up and walking. That's a task and a half. But it's a normal thing. So what you do, you start walking. You try to get up first and keep your balance. And ooh, right? And then you'll fall. And then with support, either your parents holding your hand or whatever it is, you start walking. But when you start walking, you take one step forward and you're not sure. You're all, you're like an elastic until you build up the strength. When you have the strength, now you start walking a little bit more with confidence. Hey, I think I can do this. You take a step forward, and then whoa, you're losing your balance, and then you're going back. Sometimes you back up 2, 3 steps, and then you come back, and then you try another one until you master that art. Now, your focus, the only thing that you focus on is walking forward. You're walking to somewhere, not from. That's the only focus that you have. That's the only thing you know at that point, is how do I get from point A to point B in a straight as possible line. We'll forward 20 years later, probably earlier, but we'll go 20 years. Can you not tell me that now walking is a piece of cake? For most people, let's understand each other. That now, not only can you go forward, you can walk backwards. You can go sideways, something that you didn't even think of, and it was not in your radar at all when you were 6 months or a year. When you were focusing to go forward, you were focusing on going forward because that's all you knew about. Then you realize if you can't go forward, you can't go backwards. And then you realize that the same concept that is going back and forth can go sideways. Right? Because that's how we were trained. That's how we are brought up to think. It's a normal thing to walk. The same thing with talking. Most of us started talking with blurry words. Some of us still talk with blurry words. Some of us talk with an accent. I'm 46 years old, and I'm still trying to master English. English is my second language, obviously. But I'm a lot better than I was. It's also about your priorities, but we're not going to go into that. But coming back to the walking, it's about not thinking that something that you didn't know about could even exist. To understand perception and to change your perception, you have to understand that you know what you know. You also know what you don't know. But the one thing that you don't know is what you don't know. Like, you know you don't know something, but you don't know what it is that you don't know. Because it's so far outside your vision, your radar, that you can't imagine it. If I was telling you right now, you are going to be worth $10 million, for most of you, you'd say, yeah, out of your mind, I'll never make that. All it means is that you don't know how to make it yet, if you choose to. But if someone in this world has $10 million, it is possible for you to make that $10 million as well. Doesn't mean you won't have to make sacrifice or choices. Maybe not sacrifice, but choices. But the only reason that you think it's so far-fetched is because you don't know what you don't know. And the reason why I share that with you, and I'm using money because it's tangible, but it's the same thing with emotion, it's the same thing about normal life. The same thing as saying, do you love yourself right now? And you'll say yes. Or some will say no. To what extent do you love yourself? It's outside your range for most people. We live in a society right now that it's all about me, 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 me. That's why we don't have a world that has connections anymore. It's through text, it's through email. We look at Facebook more than we talk to people in real life. Those are a lack of connection. Why? Because it's a lack of love. And I will address that, but it's about perception. Perception to me also means, if I am aware that life is about perception, If I choose to change my perceptions on things, which means going to get to know what you don't know, which give you the chance to change your perception, which also will bring you to be able to love yourself, but not in a selfish way, not about me, me, me. It's putting yourself first to be able to give more. It's about treating others the way you want to be treated and not treat others the way they treat you. Those are the difference. If you change your perception on time, you will notice that you have time. Your priority may not be the same, but we all have 24 hours a day. Our priority change. So when someone say, "Can you come over tonight?" I don't say I don't have time. My close friends, I will say, that is not my priority tonight. I have to be there and I want to do that. See the difference? I don't run out of time in a day. I just prioritize. Changing your perception will change the words you're using. Why? Because the word you're using change your life. It changed your perception. Therefore, change your life. Changing your perception about a matter will change your life, or at least the way you look at life, or at least the way you look at that one thing. Perception is the beginning and the main ingredient to change everything in your life. It's about how to reprogram your brain, or how to go get the information that will change your perception on certain things. You might have been brought up as rich people are rich because they screwed people over. If you go get the information available, you'll notice that most are not like that. While you're looking at it in that sense, all you're doing to yourself is stopping yourself with a good reason that you believe in to make money because you don't want to be a bad person. What if I was telling you that the person who has made tons and tons and tons of money never screwed anybody? At least not on purpose. They seized opportunity. They saw an opportunity which came back into money. Doesn't mean they're more successful than others. That means they have more money than others. And some have both. But what I'm trying to say is changing your perception on things will allow you to change your life, will allow you to accept things, will allow you to see what you can achieve. Society was made in a sense where they want us to stay small. They want us to be negative. Why? Because they can't control us. Look at the medias. Does positive news sell? No. Why? Because people need drama. People need tragedy to make themselves feel better. And it's not on purpose, don't take me wrong. It's an automatic reaction. But once again, if you know about it, you can change it. But why is drama selling so much? Why are we seeing so much killing and shooting and bombing and all the negative stuff in the world on TV every single day? And it's 3-4 times a day. You start with the morning, you have your noon news, you have your news at 5, and then you have your news at 11. So 4 times a day, not including Facebook, not including emails that we receive, not including radio, not including all the news that we talk about all day long. We spend most of our day talking about negative stuff, talking about the news. For a long time, haven't watched the news. And I've been told many times, how can you hold a conversation? Very easily. I don't talk about the news. Not because it doesn't concern me, simply because I don't believe in them. I believe in looking in a world where positive is, where love is, where opportunities are. And depending on your background, I had to go through those steps to be able to say now, I choose to watch the news to know what's happening in the world and how can I have a simple little impact on it. But I don't let the news affect me. I also don't watch 24 hours of it. I also don't get involved in talking 24 hours a day on it. I just simply look at it for information purposes. I look at it with my perception on how can I change that or have a little impact. And it might sound silly for some. But what if I could have a little impact in changing that? Just a little. What if I can impact 10 people who will impact 10 people who will impact 10 people and so on and so forth? At the end of the day, I might have impacted 1 million of people by affecting 2 people or 10 people. That's how we can change the world. That's how changing your perception can change your life. That's how I changed my life. Through experience, not mistakes, not failures, but through experience. Trying over and over and over again, changing some ingredients until I master it or I'm getting better. It's like, let's say you make a cake, okay? You bake a cake. The information I have in front of me, forget about the web right now because everybody can read Google, but if we don't have Google, and yet again, you could have Google and you can end up on a recipe that makes no sense because you have never baked, so you don't have any common sense on baking because it's a lack of information. But you decide to make a cake. You don't put eggs in your cake. Or you don't put milk. Or you don't put flour. Or you don't use the cake mix. Whichever it is. Or you follow the instruction perfectly to a T. Put it in the oven for 10 minutes and take it out and it's not cooked. Or you put it in the oven for 10 hours and it's burnt. It's only one information that can change the whole cake experience. With a cake, we'll throw it in the garbage and say, I'm going to try it again. Not a big deal. Some of you will never bake again. It all depends on perception. Was it a failure? Or was it an experience? The reason why I'm using cooking is I love cooking. I do all kind of experience. And according to a lot of people, I've done a lot of failures. But to me, they've always been experience. I've always learned from them. And the reason why I'm sharing that is if you adapt that same mentality to making decision, all of a sudden it makes sense. Why have I done this? Oh man. No. Why have I done that like that? What did I do different than last time? Yeah, I've done that. Last time it worked well. This time I've done that. It's not working as well. I'm not going to do that again. And if I do it again, I'm not going to expect any different results. But if I realize that I've done something that was not working, I have to figure out or understand and acknowledge the fact that I did something that didn't work. Then it's just a matter of changing one ingredient at a time until you succeed. So it may take 10 experience to get to the success. depending on the size of the decision making, you may have to try 100 times. You may try it twice. You may have it first time. It all depends. But they're not failures, they're experiences. So when I talk about perception again, it's all about understanding that you don't know what you don't know. If you are willing to get more information, if you are willing to change your perception, then I do invite you to watch the rest of my videos. I will share a lot of tools, a lot of experience, a lot of different example about different topics. And you guys will take the information that you guys decide to have or to take, or the one that meet with your belief, which meets with where you want to go. Remember, I share my tools that work for me with a different perception, trying to widen the information so you can make different decisions based on the experience and the tools that I'm sharing. And in order to do that, like I said, you have to be willing to be able, or to have the choice to change your perception, to have an open mind. And if you want to, please join me on my next video. We'll be talking a lot more about different topics, self-love, fears. We'll be talking about all kind of different nice videos that I talked in the first video anyway. So if you like it, please just press like, feel free to share, and I hope to see you in the next video. For now, I love you guys. Ciao.